What's up everybody, I'm Kirk, and oh my god, we got more Ultrakill. While there's been plenty of updates since Ultrakill's early access release last September, the recent patch 7 introduced a whole new layer for V1 to rampage through: Greed. Now, don't mistake this for the proper launch of Act 2. Greed is just the first taste. But this first taste brings with it a lot of flavor. 4 new maps, 2 new bosses, new enemies, as well as new power-ups and tweaks to the Cybergrind. Hot damn. For this video, I'll be going through the update and sharing my thoughts on the new content. Is Greed a strong start for the hotly anticipated Act 2, or is V1 starting to run low on batteries? Let's find out. But before all that, please remember to subscribe and ring the bell for more videos that will bring us into the inferno. Alrighty, let's begin. So right off the bat, I want to take this opportunity to correct a mistake I made in the first Ultrakill review. When discussing the weapons, I made an error regarding the shotgun, and in general, I don't feel I gave these beautiful tools of destruction their due. So I'm gonna do it right this time and give a refresher on Ultrakill's weapons, which will lead us into the new mechanics. If you'd prefer to skip this and jump right into the new stuff, the timecodes are in the description. Let's begin with the Piercer Revolver, which admittedly feels a bit like a pipsqueak, mostly effective towards the lower enemies. Its alternate form, the Marksman Revolver, was a secret in Act 1, and for good reason. It's a beast. Only held back by its slower fire rate, Marksman will splatter low-level enemies in one hit and can make short work of tougher enemies. What really defines the revolvers, though, are their alternate attacks. The first being a charged up shot that's not only deadly to flesh, but glass as well. And the second, the coin. The coin is one of the most versatile weapons in the game. When tossing it out, if your aim is good enough, you can shoot and deflect a bullet off of it for more damage. Throw out multiple coins and it will deflect off of all of them, multiplying the damage with each bounce. And it will always find an enemy. Always. Oh, but that's not all. Throw out the coin and switch to the railgun and you can deflect its shot as well. Or you can deflect a malicious face's beam if you're fast enough. You can just punch them too. Probably one of the most inventive mechanics I've ever seen in a shooter. The shotgun is a nasty one, tears through enemies like butter. Its first alternate attack is the core eject, which is basically a charged up explosive. The second is the pump charge. The longer you pump, the stronger the attack, but pump too much and it will backfire, creating a massive explosion that will damage you. But also the enemies. A good Hail Mary if you need it. The shotgun definitely has some tricks up its sleeve, but none of them come even remotely close to its special attack. Only doable if you have the feedbacker arm equipped. If you time it right, when you fire the shotgun, you can punch the shards and rocket them towards enemies for an explosive attack. It's one of the best tricks in the whole game, and I do it constantly. Like, too much. In fact, I always have to remind myself to switch it up. I can't help it though, they made it too fun. It's too fun not to do. Banger of a mechanic. Next is the nail gun, the machine gun type weapon. Not the weakest, but definitely not the most powerful, but it does have its value against certain enemy types. Like the other guns, it too features 2 alternate fires. First, the attractor, which can shoot out a magnet that can attach to enemies and attract all the nails you fire for a homing attack. Second, overheat. After charging up, when you hit the alt fire, the nail gun will spew out flaming nails that can light enemies on fire. This is one of the strongest attacks in the game, valuable against tougher enemies, but also handy for shaving down a boss's health bar. Finally, the rail cannon, capable of firing a powerful single shot that can slice through enemies. An insanely powerful weapon balanced out by its decent cooldown after every shot. The rail cannon comes in 3 variants. Electric, blue, is a straightforward electric beam able to pierce enemies. Malicious, red, imitates the attacks of the malicious faces by shooting an instant red beam that explodes on impact, simultaneously lighting the enemies on fire. And Screwdriver, green, shoots out a rocket screw that will bore into enemies, dealing damage over time, while also sprinkling out healing blood, which is mighty handy. As you can see, this is a pretty well-rounded arsenal, and there's still more coming. The revolver, shotgun, and nail gun each have 2 more variants under construction, and the rail cannon has 1. What are they gonna be? Your guess is as good as mine. But judging by how much gameplay you can squeeze out of what's available, I can only expect pure madness in Ultrakill's arsenal future. So, what's new? Well, the new power-up we get to play with is the dual wield. For a limited but generous amount of time, you can hold 2 of whatever weapon you have equipped, obviously doubling your damage, and you are not barred from doing alternate attacks or special techniques. However, after picking up the power-up, if you're lucky enough to find another one, you can add another arm for triple damage, find a 4th, and, you guessed it, quadruple damage for maximum silliness. And I do love me some silliness. The other major thing added is the whiplash, basically a grapple hook you can use to platform and yank these meatbags towards you. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of opportunities to take advantage of this ability in terms of platforming, but I wouldn't be surprised if the rest of Act 2 went hog wild with this one. Greed also introduces a couple new enemies. The Flying Virtues conjure up a white glyph that will bring the booming light of heaven down upon you if you don't get out of the way fast enough. These guys add a lot of pressure to combat, as they can attack you anywhere in the battlefield at any time, and if you don't take care of them early, you're likely to get distracted by a mob just long enough for them to get ya. A perk, though, is that their attacks can hurt other enemies, so a clever player can use them to their advantage. Next are the Stalkers, who carry giant vials of sand on their backs that are wired to explode, and if they do, they'll cover enemies in sand. There's a new mechanic introduced in this layer where if enemies are covered in sand, they won't bleed. Remember, blood is fuel, fuel being health. So when a Stalker enters the battlefield with its sand, it adds another layer of urgency to the combat. Get to them before they take your health source away. Also, gotta note, the Stalkers are wearing gas masks. Good reference. I like both of these new enemies. I think they add some nice dimension to combat and encourage the player to be more mobile and more aware of their arena. Speaking of arenas, Greed's 4 levels take place in an Egyptian-themed realm that stirred up memories of the underrated gem Power Slave. Whew, that's a game I need to revisit soon. Greed's maps are spacious. While environmental hazards are more prevalent, the player has a lot more freedom to move and maneuver, which is good because many of the enemies you'll face have launching area of effect attacks. The first level is somewhat business as usual, a multi-room feast of carnage that introduces you to the virtues as well as the dual-wield power-up. Second level is where things get interesting, being a giant version of the floor is lava, or rather deadly hot sand that will melt your health upon touch, made difficult by the enemies stationed to bounce you off your platforms. The end of the level introduces the first boss fight, the Sisyphean Insurrectionist, or rather what's left of him. It's a fun battle, kinda felt like I was fighting a busted Stretch Armstrong with its rubbery arm attacks that have some long reach. The only bummer here is that the first time I fought him, he got stuck on the floor, a situation I happily took advantage of. Never happened again though, and I'm sure something like this can be fixed in a patch. Oh, well hello my old friend. In level 3, you navigate the dark, spooky pyramid, lighting torches to illuminate your way. Don't worry, unlike a certain secret level in the first act, there's no stick boys chasing you in this one. The culmination of this level is one of the funnest arenas I've encountered in all of Ultrakill so far. A giant battle zone with numerous platforms and drops illuminated by a rotating green light. So while you have all sorts of freedom to move, the spotty visibility makes bunny hops a potential hazard. Plus the gauntlet is thrown at you here. Virtues, malicious faces, legions of hellspawn, and those damn stalkers. This was a challenging fight with little room for error, and it killed my ass many a time. But man oh man was it a satisfying skirmish and a visual treat. The fourth level consists of the end layer boss, and I actually don't feel comfortable showing it. There's some cool aspects to this fight that I think are best left unspoiled. But I will say this, it's a toughie, and might need a little rebalancing. But suffer through it enough and eventually you'll slide on through. Finally, Cybergrind. Only minor improvements here, some new patterns to choose from, the ability to start at a higher wave, and on top of that, the new enemies have been added. Still a great mode to sharpen your skills and achieve that high score. So, what did I think of Greed? Well, in the timeless words of one Gordon Gekko,
greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
But it's more than good, it's excellent. The new levels are a joy, and the new enemies and mechanics are worthy additions. Ultrakill continues to be one of the freshest, most inventive, and outright fun shooters out there, and I am even more excited for Act 2. Come on, Hakita, hurry up and get it done. I can't wait any longer. Well, okay, actually take your time and get it right, but you know, keep the pace up. Either way, whenever Act 2 decides to drop, be sure to check back to this channel for my full review. But hey, what did you think of Greed? Did it meet your expectations? And has anybody discovered any interesting secrets? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and ring the bell for notifications on future uploads. It's a couple clicks for you, but a massive help for this channel. And be sure to come say hi in the Kirk Collects Discord, linked in the description. I'm Kirk, and thank you for watching this video. Stay safe out there.